Hello, my name is Jennifer Krauser. I work at the University of Notre Dame, and I'm here to talk to you today about ESPT, Entomological Surveillance Planning Tool. This presentation is brought to you by the University of California, San Francisco, and the University of Notre Dame. We hope by the conclusion of this presentation you understand what ESPT is and how you can use it. Today, we're going to introduce to you what the ESPT is, how it works, who can use it, and talk to you about some examples of how ESPT was used, piloted in 3 different countries to address key program questions. ESPT, we want you to understand what is it, who developed it, why use it, and how to use it. The ESPT is a decision support tool for planning entomological surveillance activities. It aligns with WHO guidance and helps interpreting entomological data and guidance programmatic vector control decisions. This ESPT also helps malaria programs strengthen their entomological surveillance and vector control to be more effective, locally tailored, and evidence-based. The ESPT helps facilitate and guide integration of entomological data with epidemiological data, climate, and human behavioral data. It also helps answer programmatic questions about local transmission questions and local transmission drivers and gaps in protection such as space where people are not protected from mosquito bites by the current interventions used. Who developed this tool? Well, in response to the program demand for operational guidance and entomological surveillance, University of California, San Francisco, and the University of Notre Dame developed the ESPT. Developed this tool with the close collaboration with an entomological surveillance group that comprised of researchers, experts, and other research institutes and country programs from around the world. They worked together to develop this tool that had something for every malaria program. Why use this tool? Well, even though the global transmission of malaria has declined, progress towards malaria elimination has stalled. Vector control is a key component of malaria control, and ensuring the effective vector control requires programs to understand why and where transmission is persisting and necessitate monitoring of trends as interventions are deployed over space and time. This is critical to accelerating progress towards malaria elimination. In fact, the WHO Global Technical Strategy from 2016 to 2030 outlines 5 core vector control elements to accelerate this progress. And they can see, as you can see on your screen, maximize the impact of vector control, maintain adequate entomological surveillance and monitoring, manage insecticide resistance and residual transmission, strengthen capacity for evidence-driven vector control, and implement malaria vector control in the context of integrated vector management. The entomological surveillance planning tool is central to these 5 elements. And entomological aligns with WHO guidance and normative guidance into a decision support tool for malaria programs to strengthen entomological surveillance for most effective, locally tailored, and evidence-based. The ESPT will also guide your programs to generate entomological data that can better guide intervention selection, targeting, tailoring, and deployment. How do you use it? The ESPT can be easily integrated into your current program, so there's no need to redevelop a new program, but it will address a wide range of program questions you might already have. For example, your organization may be interested in understanding why there is ongoing malaria transmission in a specific area but not others, and your team may already be looking into data collection. The ESPT can come in and it can help improve your surveillance plan. It can also improve data collection and efficiency. It can increase your efficiency and impact by empowering your organization and making informed decisions on your path towards elimination. The ESPT is an iterative tool. You can work with this module as many times as you need to understand and attain a feasible entomological surveillance plan. As mentioned before, there are many use cases, including programmatic transmission investigations. You can use it for annual entomological surveillance planning or intervention evaluation, such as assessing impact or potential impact of interventions on malaria transmission. Sorry. How it works. This is an example of a navigation tool that's on page 4 of the manual. This navigation tree shows you how to work through the 9 modules with that comprised of ESPT. We'll walk you through all of those today briefly, and the ESPT supports the inner formulation of program's entomological collection plan. ESPT begins with Module 1 and how you're identifying your programmatic questions, such as, are long-lasting insecticide-treated nets an effector of intervention in my region? The training on Module 1 will help you identify your questions by theme and then prioritize them. Then in Module 2, you'll be able to help identify the appropriate minimum essential indicator that will help inform your question. For example, vector landing rates, vector resting behavior, or insecticide resistance status. In Module 3, it'll help you determine which sampling method or methods you should use to measure those indicators you selected in Module 2, and therefore accurately address your question for Module 1. For example, human landing catches, CDC light traps, or cow-baited tent traps. In Module 4, you'll be looking at helping to decide which sites you should use to implement your entomological collection plan in. And in Module 5, you will guide your decision to help best sampling design to yield the best data in consideration of time and resources you have. A sampling design is a framework in which you can obtain your samples, sample size, site collection, and timing and frequency of collection, and are all key aspects of sampling design. In the next series of modules 6 through 9, this will help create a more sustainable and robust collection plan. In Module 6, it's going to help you with data management and showing you best practices used. And in 7, 8, and 9, we'll show you decision trees to support plan development. As you can see, ESPT is naturally adaptive and can work through the tool iteratively in order to attain a feasible entomological collection plan, or to address new programmatic questions that might emerge in your organization. Who can use the ESPT? National and subnational malaria programs, program entomologists, vector control officers, surveillance officers and monitoring evaluation officers, data managers, and support country partners. Really, anyone can use the ESPT, as there's a wide variety of use cases for this tool. Of these, if people decide if ESPT is right for them at that time. After listening to this presentation, if you feel this tool can help your program, please share this presentation with your colleagues. The ESPT was piloted in Southern Africa, Mesoamerica, and Southeast Asia in order to assess country uptake and impact on the entomological data generated through the pilots for subsequent decision-making around entomological surveillance and interventions. Here, we have 3 examples from Mozambique, Panama, and Namibia. First, in Mozambique, malaria landscape is characterized as being heterogeneous transmission. By 2025, Mozambique aims to have reduced malaria prevalence to under 5% across the nation. Therefore, Mozambique's country's program wanted to understand that indoor residual spraying could be effective in reducing malaria transmission in currently untargeted areas. So the program question the country, program, and its partners sought to investigate was, could indoor residual spraying be effective in currently untargeted areas in southern Mozambique? The program applied ESPT to select minimum indicators, sampling methods, and sampling sites in order to address this question. The program conducted weekly collections in centennial sites in 2 districts not currently targeted by IRS over once every 2 months to cover their transmission area time. They measured key indicators to collect information on vector biting behavior, vector resting behavior, and insecticide susceptibility. The outcome was that they found in southern Mozambique, targeted use of IRS could be effective based on vector behavior in only some currently untargeted areas, defining the 2019 IRS strategy for these sites. The program also determined the appropriate timing of IRS to ensure adequate IRS coverage throughout the entire malaria transmission season. In Namibia, malaria is endemic to 9 regions, all situated in the northern part of the country. Namibia is striving to attain zero local transmission by 2022. Thus, in order to work towards their elimination goals, Namibia country's program and its partners sought to understand how their current interventions functioned. One of the questions the program posed was, is IRS currently working effectively against local vectors based on vector behavior and susceptibility to insecticides? This program sought to determine whether the vectors had changed behavior and or whether they had become resistant to the insecticides currently being used. Through the application of ESPT to address this question, the program measured vector resting behavior, specific species insecticide susceptibility, and residual efficacy of IRS. They collected data in one of the centennial sites per malarious region and up to 3 times in a transmission season. The outcome was the insecticide resistance in primary vectors to an insecticide use of IRS. As a result, the program changed insecticide in all malaria regions, and they are now making plans to rotate insecticides as possible. Resistance to other insecticides used are also detected. In addition, the program determined that residual efficacy studies are needed to understand the durability of the insecticide use, and thus ensure the appropriate timing of IRS campaigns to secure adequate IRS coverage throughout the transmission season. In Panama, targeting malaria elimination by 2020, but it's challenged by persisting transmission in remote and rural areas of the country. To better understand the root causes of the persisting malaria transmission, Panama's country and its partners identified key program questions to address. One of the questions was if long-lasting insecticide-treated nets was a good, effective control measure based on both human and vector behaviors. In implementation, the program examined vector biting behavior alongside human behavior in 2 centennial sites over 3 of the distinct collection periods throughout the transmission season: moderate rainy season, dry season, and heavy rainy season. Human behavior varied across neighboring communities. As a result, affected the effectiveness of the LLINs differently because some communities use the LLINs more than others. An example demonstrated human behavior effects of effectiveness of intervention implemented. The vector data demonstrated that the vector was biting outside more than inside. Nonetheless, LLINs remain an important vector control method to protect people from being bitten indoors during sleeping hours, but cannot be used as a sole intervention. Other interventions are needed to address outdoor biting. The long-lasting insecticide-treated nets and rollout and the SBCC wasn't part of the ESPT pilot. This was done during the pilot in our sampling sites. However, the ESPT entomological collections did generate entomological and human behavioral data that demonstrated that LLI campaigned and SBCC increased bednet use by 317% in the sampling communities, including in the ESPT pilot. So what's next? If you're interested in learning more about ESPT, please click on this website, shrinkingthemalarialmap.org/tools, to download the ESPT. And you and your team can look at if this is the right tool for you to use and incorporate into your program. Feel free to go to our YouTube channel and check out our modules, trainings that we have for the ESPT at the site here. And you can also email us if you have any questions or suggestions. Thank you very much for your time. Again, we appreciate you listening to this presentation that was brought to you from the University of California, San Francisco and the University of Notre Dame to generate more information about ESPT. And we hope that you enjoyed it, and hopefully you can use the ESPT to help you on your goals towards malaria elimination. Thank you.